Welcome to Downtown Cafe. Please subscribe to our channel and also turn on your notification bell in order to get our latest updates. Paul Biya must react. The lawyer and human rights defender maintains that the government was indeed aware of the Canadian mediation offer and calls on the head of state to stop listening to those for whom the war in the Northwest and Southwest constitutes a business fund. An attack targeting CDC employees and claimed by the separatist group left 5 dead in Tico last weekend. Several other attacks have been reported here and there in the English-speaking area. Is this a sign that terrorist groups are picking up the slack in the Northwest and Southwest? In fact, the violence is never over in these two regions, even if it subsided in intensity at one point. At one point, there was a calm that could deceive each other. This is the essence of armed conflicts. There were other attacks that happened during the holiday season. What happened last weekend in Tico, and which has to do with the boycott of the slogan of Ghost Town and the youth festivities, is unbearable. These people were only looking for bread for their families. You cannot pretend to fight for a population and at the same time kill people in this way. As we say in international humanitarian law, you cannot attack people who are not parties to hostilities. If it were armed people, we would be talking about a war crime, but in this specific case, it is a crime against humanity. There are those who think that it is an act to push the government to negotiate with the separatists, but the target is very badly chosen. On the other hand, it must be said that the government, whose role is precisely to protect civilians, has failed. You are no doubt disappointed by the Cameroonian government's rejection of Canada's offer of mediation with a view to a negotiated solution to the conflict. There is no reason that the government refuses Canada's offer to mediate. Having a mediator in the crisis that has done so much damage is not cheap. The people who live in the Northwest and Southwest hope only one thing, that this dirty war ends. Directly or indirectly, when a person is killed in a community, the whole community is in mourning. When a house is burned down, when children are arrested, the whole community suffers. Unfortunately, those who live in Yaoundé or elsewhere in the French-speaking part do not always know what their brothers in the Northwest and Southwest are going through. The government believes that the dialogue had taken place and that it is on the side of the separatists to show good faith. It is very easy to say that we don't want a new dialogue, but everyone in this country who has the power to stop this ugly war needs to do everything to bring it to an end. We can only get out of this by going to the negotiating table. It might take a long time, but we will get there. Why not do it today to save lives? We must save the civilian population. The soldiers are even those who took up arms against the state, and the children who die in this conflict are our children, our brothers, our sisters. I was shocked by the testimony of a lady who was raped by Amber boys. When the scenes of the Canadian mediation were going on, I assure you that I was very proud of the government in various interviews on the BBC. So you confirm that some Cameroonian authorities were aware of or even involved in the steps for this aborted mediation, despite the government's denials. I spoke with several people in Canada and the United States. I know that the government was aware of these steps. I know that there is a network war in Cameroon, but I repeat to President Paul Biya, who has just celebrated his 90th birthday and who has just addressed the Cameroonian youth, that he is our dad. He is the father of the nation. He cannot sleep peacefully when his children are not sleeping. He cannot rest easily when his children are raped, when they are killed, when they are arrested and thrown in prison for 3-4 years without trial. The head of state must react. He must do something. He cannot continue to listen to people who have no interest in seeing peace return to Cameroon. Mr. President, stop listening to your ministers who do not want the war to end, who instrumentalized this war to remain ministers. Many are using this war as a goodwill